welcome back to the video. Welcome back to the office in pretty much what I'm going to consider the finished state of it. I hope you guys are having a great day. I know that we are. We've already been on a hike this morning, and as you can see by these shots, it's surprising that it's spring. It was so wet and muddy and things like that, it almost would have felt like fall if it wasn't for some of the buds and the greenery starting to finally come back. But it was a great hike, a great time to get out. And if you watched our recent episode of the Better Together podcast, then you know that this is exactly what we're wanting to start doing more of. We used to be really active, and we go in those spells of active, not active, active, not active. And what we know is that we feel better when we're active. And so we want to be able to go out, do things like this, have these adventures, go out, tromp through the woods, have fun, and be also able just to take fun video clips, fun things like that, and be able to incorporate them into these vlogs. And as we were on our way home, we stopped at a few different places. We stopped at a thrift store, and I got this. And I don't know if you guys can see it very well. It's this very weird, just little box with a screw on the top that is adjustable. Goes about that high up and comes down. And believe it or not, it's even got adjustable feet. And believe it or not, this is some kind of little camera stand tripod thing. It has no branding information on it. I've never seen anything like this. And all the time of like messing with cameras, using cameras like that, I never have seen anything like this. And I got lucky that I even found it. But I think it's going to be super cool in making these videos and using the camera that I'm using now and that we've been using through this video, which is a little bit different than what our normal setup's been. But none of that is what we're here to talk about in this video. What we're here to talk about is the experience that I got to have this week. And that was getting to teach Bible study for the first time in the group setting like that, and finally get to do what I felt that God has been leading me to do for so long. And it was such a great blessing and a great opportunity, and it just honestly felt like what I'm supposed to be doing. Everything just worked. It went really well. The questions that were asked were great questions. My ability was... It was better to speak than I'm speaking so far in this video today. I was prepared, I was ready, and I felt that God was with me. And really, in that, it was amazing to see because we've got several different lessons in the Bible study plan that we did, which is called This Is That. And it starts in the Old Testament, works its way all up into the New Testament. But the way that things worked out is that I got to do the third lesson. And the third lesson is really all about the book of Acts, the furtherance of the church, and the plan of salvation. And if there's anything that I know that I can teach on, if there's anything that I know I can cover, it's the book of Acts, because it's by far my favorite book. It's really what I enjoy the most in the Bible. And I know that sounds kind of weird, but it's seeing the church in action. We can see how the apostles lived, how faith was practiced, what they were doing, and how we are supposed to be living today. And so it's such a book that I love and enjoy that I could see God's hand of blessing in it. And I could feel how God was, leading in like, this is what you're supposed to teach. And like, even what's crazy is that this is a more updated version of our chart. And lesson 3 previously had been a completely different lesson. And so when the guy that I'm working with recommended that I teach lesson 3, he didn't realize it even was going to be the book of Acts. He didn't realize how the study guide had changed at that point, but we kept it as me teaching lesson 3, and I really am so thankful that God did that, because it was the perfect lesson for me to get to teach first, because it's what I know the best, and it's what I'm the most passionate about. And the amazing thing is that one of the guys that was there now sees his need to be baptized and wants to be baptized this Sunday at our church. Can it really get any better than that? Is that not the experience that we want to all have on our first time getting to teach in those situations? And the only thing that I wish I had done is that I wish that I had done a better job of documenting the experience. And I actually had every intention and every plan to do that. But as the time got closer, things got me down, to be honest. Our group still isn't that big. We only have a few people outside of those that are actually helping teach the Bible study. And so when I found out that some people weren't going to be able to make it this week, I honestly got down, and I started to wonder if anybody was going to come at all. And so that affected my desire and my ability to want to document the experience. And now I do regret that. Thankfully, as you can see, my wife was able to get some amazing clips. She was able to get some clips of the Bible study of me teaching, and I'm so thankful for that. But I do wish that I had taken that time to make the video clips to talk about how I was feeling and what I was thinking leading up to the Bible study. Really, I was both nervous and not nervous at the very same time because I had practiced, I had studied, I'd even taken time with my wife to teach her the Bible study just to make sure that I was prepared to teach others. And so I went into it with a level of ability and a level of readiness that I wasn't that worried about it. But obviously you still have the nerves about getting up and teaching in front of new people or just a group of people in general, whether you know them or not. It changes once you get ready to get up and teach and talk to them about things like that. But that's exactly why we've been doing the podcast so long, why we've been recording it, and why we've been doing these things was a way of practicing speaking, teaching, presenting the Bible message. And I honestly feel like that made a massive impact on my ability to teach this Thursday. And I think that if you're somebody in that same boat where you're preparing, you want to teach, you want to preach, you want to do those things, I honestly think that a podcast is a great way to do that, especially if you start out as doing a podcast audio only, which is exactly what I used to do. I used to really just sit in front of the monitor on the first episodes of the podcast. I would just sit, have the microphone and everything over there, and I would do the podcast with no video. And then as I got more and more comfortable with that, I knew it was time to increase the difficulty level. And honestly, talking to a camera is difficult. It's very hard to do. It feels awkward, and it makes you have to think about everything that you're going to say, similar to how it is when you begin to talk in front of other people. And so that's when I began to do more on the podcast and do more on the vlogs and things like that to get used to talking in an environment that was different so that I could get up to where my mind would flow better. I'd be able to think through the gospel, think through the word, or just think through what I'm going to say without stumbling all over myself and saying a whole bunch of ums. And I think the proof is in the pudding. It paid off. Being able to do these videos, doing the podcast, talking into a mic, talking to people who may or may not be there online has made a massive impact on my ability to present and preach the gospel. And I believe that's part of the reason that God's led me down this path. Obviously, there's also people to be reached through online mediums, and that's why it's good to also put things out like this. But it's also done so much to prepare me for in-church or in-person ministry that I can't be glad enough that we decided to do these podcasts, and that for a while I was recording 3 podcasts a week. And that really upped my game and helped me to really get over that hurdle even faster, to spend that much time on camera, speaking and doing things like that. And I think it can do the same for you, and I'm glad that I did it. So, all in all, I really think that Bible study went super well. I mean, I can't think of a way that it would have went better other than maybe if we had a much larger crowd of people. But then maybe I wouldn't have done as well in that situation as I did with the amount of people that we had on Thursday night. And so it's amazing to look back and think about that. And that's why I wanted to make this video, not even as much for you guys that are watching it. If you're watching it, it's great and I appreciate you. But also I want to be able to look at this 20, 30 years down the line and remember the first time that I got to lead Bible study. And that's really what this whole channel is about, is I want to document life. I want to have memories that I can look back on. And I think I talked about that in a previous video. But I find that to be so important, especially as you look around at people who don't maybe remember their life or don't remember the beginnings or can't show people the beginnings. But when you're starting something and when you're building something and really just when you're living life in general, you kind of want to be able to look back on it one day, see where you were, see how things were. And that's exactly what we want to do. And we want to do better than we have been doing about it. And that's where this camera comes in. And I'm going to seem silly. Maybe we'll get into this video at some point because my phone's going to be in black and white. And maybe I'll explain that if you guys are interested. But if you look at yourselves here, I'm using an action camera. I pulled out the trusty old action camera. And then there's that new camera stand base, as you can see, was only $1, that I got today. And that's what I've been using to record this video. And the reason that I want to use this to record the video is because it's small, compact, and it can go anywhere. And hopefully, it'll help us to be more purposeful about documenting life. Having this little camera in my pocket will hopefully help me to just capture more things that I want to capture. Because at the end of the day, I don't want to forget what we're doing right now. I don't want to forget the things about the Bible study. I want to be able to look back at these memories, remember how I felt, remember things like that. And maybe this video doesn't capture that as good as it can, but I'm just excited. I'm excited about where life is. I'm excited about what we're doing right now. I'm excited to see what God's doing like he did through Bible study just this week. And I hope that he continues to do more things like this and continues to help me grow and to get more opportunities to teach and preach. Because like I said, as I was up there and I was able to answer questions and explain the scriptures and just talk about all that God has shown me, it really felt like exactly what I need to be doing. And maybe that's the same thing in your life. So don't hold back. Don't let fear get you. I did that for a long time. In fact, I didn't plan on going here, but I want to talk about the Bible for just a second, because one thing that really hit me, and something that God showed me with doing the podcast, was that when God calls someone to do something, we want to argue with God. And that's what we even see in the Bible. That's exactly what Moses did. Moses attempted to argue with God. He told God, I can't do it. I'm not a good speaker, this, that, and the other. He made all these excuses to God, but God answered every single one of those excuses. And we have to realize that if God's calling us to do something, if it seems like something we could never do, He can use us to do it. We can be the Moseses, we can be the Gideons, living and walking today, doing what God's called us to do, because we're doing it by His strength, not by our own strength. And that's why God chooses us as weak vessels to use us, is because that way we will know that we couldn't do this on our own. I know that I couldn't stand up there and teach. I struggled in speech class. I struggled for so long to make these videos, but once I started doing it solely for God and to put out the message that God has given me on my heart, it became so much easier. And I believe that He can do the very same thing for you. And you can get to that place where you get to teach your first group Bible study or your first solo individual Bible study, and you're going to be able to reap such great rewards just in your spirit, because you'll feel like you've been doing what God has wanted you to do all along. At least that's how it's been in my own case, but I truly believe that that's something that God has for all of us. We're all ministers of His gospel. We can all share the truth, and it's something that we all should be doing to the very best of our ability. Speaking of which, time for me to get busy recording a podcast, because I have been actually doing these podcasts on Sunday between church services, which has been a great way to stay awake and not take a nap and feel worse for the second service. But we have a meeting between services tomorrow about our Bible study and what we can do to reach more people. If you have any suggestions, let me know in the comments. But we're going to have a meeting, and so I'm not going to have that opportunity, and I like to have them done before Monday because it just feels too rushed. So I'm going to get to recording the podcast. I'm going to get to doing more of what God has called me to do, and also practice more teaching, so that way, again, the next time I have the opportunity to teach Bible study, I'm going to be ready. I just hope this battery's actually ready. It's not exactly green yet, but hopefully it'll make it through the entire episode. So I've already explained what I thought of Bible study this week, but what did you think?
This was the first one I've actually got to participate in, really, because most of the time I've been helping with the kids, so I thoroughly enjoyed it. I thought you did a wonderful job explaining everything and going through, and it was really exciting to hear that one of the people coming was like, yeah, I've actually been thinking about getting baptized and all that stuff, and he'll really reaffirm that, because that's part of what you were teaching on. So I feel like it was very...
I'm just glad I had somebody who could give me an honest opinion there about how it was, especially about presenting, because that's the hardest part, and that's the mountain you have to climb out of, is that ability to just say and get everything out in the timely manner, in the way that you want to.
Honestly, I feel like, because we've heard a ton of people teach and preach and all this stuff, I feel like you did a really great job. You didn't talk super fast. You had your moment at the very beginning, but you found your rhythm pretty quick. And you were clear, concise. You didn't stumble a whole bunch. You didn't, go, and have a lot of dead air. It was very good, but there were still lots of good opportunities to stop and ask questions and have discussions and things. So I feel like it went very well. And if this is what all the previous ones were like as well, then yay!
I think what I was telling you, and this is obviously, there's other ones that other people have taught, but then this is the first one that I've taught. I just wanted to clarify that again. But the thing is that what I told them earlier is that I just felt like I was finally doing what I was supposed to be doing. I've been getting all this information, I've been learning all these things, and so now actually getting to use it has been really nice.
And you could tell it in how you held yourself and everything. Of course, there's always the little things that I notice where I know that it's because you're nervous.
Yeah.
And all that, but your body language held a confidence and a calm that you just knew that you were supposed to be doing that.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Now the other question, and you were with me when we got this camera stand.
Yeah.
But we've been recording on the camera stand that I showed you guys earlier with the action camera. I'm hoping the audio's good, and I'm hoping the video's good. I mean, I think it seems stable, but is it the screen?
I love it. Normally I'm one to be a little iffy on some of the odd finds that you get.
But for $1.
But for $1, this thing's the bomb.
And I looked all over it, there's no branding.
Yeah.
Like, it's just some weird generic thing that there's probably like very few of these still in existence right now. But I love it, and I want more of them. Like, if I saw another, I would buy it.
Yeah. Hopefully it'd be also for $1.
Yeah, that would be the hope. Well, if it's at a Carm, it would not be. It has to be the right thrift store to get a deal nowadays.
Woo.
But the other thing is that we're actually going to look at cameras right now, so we're on a dangerous mission. We needed to go pick up our son, but they ended up going into town, and so we're like in between towns.
Yeah.
I guess the way to look at it. And so we have to go into town, and we're like, well, we might as well go to Best Buy and look at cameras.
I mean, why not?
So stay tuned for probably one more clip to finish out this video and see, did we buy a new camera or not?
You're just gonna have to wait and find out. Knowing us, you just don't know.
There's really no telling. All it takes is a sale. A small one at that.
A sale, someone being nice to us and talking to us over there, you know.
The right Sony rep at the store.
Yep. Enjoy, guys. Enjoy.
They did not have the camera that we were interested in actually looking at in the store, which was kind of sad, but it was a good thing because it means that we didn't buy any cameras. And the truth of the matter is we don't really need any cameras, but there's always cameras with new features coming out all the time that interest you, and so we always want to go look, but thankfully we were good because we were forced to be good this time and didn't get a new camera. But anyways, this is where we're going to end this video. I hope that you guys had a great day. I don't know where I was going to go with that. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe, all those things, because it really helps us out, and we'll see you in the next video. God bless.
God bless.
Are you gonna ride like a big boy?
What?
What do you think?
You like it?
We're gonna ride like this?
Yeah.
That's how you get to sit now.
Why?
Because Mommy said in March you'd get to sit this way. It's March now.
What? Oh, I won't enjoy this.
So last chance, what do you think of your seat being this way?
I don't know.
How come you love it when the camera's not on, but as soon as I turn the camera on, you don't love it anymore?
I think I do have something when I do like.
What's that?
It's something looks everybody! This car.